Hey, my name is Tom, and welcome back to Low Carb Lifestyle. We've just gone a whole year of living with this heat pump. The results are in, and now we have a full year of data. I can report how it is performed, how much our heating and hot water has costed for this last year, and what it's done to our emissions. And also, most importantly, how we feel about low carbon heating. This episode is all about a year of heat pump life. My name is Tom, and this is a little series about a low carbon lifestyle. Let's get straight to it. Our heat pump was commissioned on the 13th of July last year, 2021. So I took some readings this year, last month, on the 13th of July, 2022. So the readings from our electricity meter and the heat meter that are connected to the heat pump. So this is all the energy that the system needs to power the heat generation, but also pump water around our system. So what does it say? We have used 4,000.12 kilowatt hours of electricity for this system in the last 12 months. And this has produced 11,822 kilowatt hours of heat, an overall efficiency of 2.96 or 296%. So for every unit of electricity we've used, we've got almost 3 units of heat out. We have a split day-night tariff, but if I assume the current daytime tariff is the cost of the electricity we've used, 29.12 pence per kilowatt hour, it would have cost us £1,165 overall to get all the heating and hot water in the last 12 months. And to get that heat and hot water, we've used electricity that would have emitted around 850 kilograms of CO2 if we assume average emissions for the UK. The Northeast does actually tend to be lower emissions than average, but let's just stick with the average. So how does this compare to our old gas boiler? Well, in 2020, before we got a heat pump, we used 1,100 units of natural gas for heating and hot water. We can convert that to kilowatt hours to compare like for like, and that means we would have used 12,530 kilowatt hours of natural gas in 2020. And this would have given us about the same amount of heat if we assume our old boiler was working at around 94% efficiency. And that's not that unreasonable assumption to make. For that much gas, our emissions would have been 2.3 tonnes, or almost 3 times more than the last 12 months with a heat pump. But what about costs? Again, using our rates from today, natural gas that we use for cooking costs us 7.22 pence per kilowatt hour. We've actually only used 31 kilowatt hours for cooking in the last year. So 12,500 kilowatt hours we used in 2020 would have cost at today's rates £904.67, or around £260 less than heating with a heat pump. So that's £21.67 extra per month to reduce our emissions by around 1.5 tonnes of CO2. Interesting. I should say that most of our hot water generation was done overnight. On our slightly cheaper tariff, we have a day-night tariff, and that's 20.8 pence rather than 29.1, about 30% less. And if I assume 10% of our heat was generated overnight, the cost could come down slightly, but not as far as the cost linked to the gas boiler. So in summary, the heat pump has cost us about £260 more for heating and hot water over the last 12 months on our latest tariff. But it's reduced our emissions linked to heat by at least 63%, and that's pretty cool. And part of that is because we've used so much less energy. 12,000 kilowatt hours of natural gas compared to 4,000 kilowatt hours of electricity. The multiplier effect of heat pump efficiency means we need less energy overall. And even if the electricity was supplied via a gas power station, with all the inefficiencies linked to that, we'd still be using less energy to heat our house than if we had a gas boiler. That's pretty cool. But this is a real case study on costs for heating with a heat pump. Our costs have gone up by around 20%. And on top of the energy price inflation that we've all seen over the last 6 months, that's not the best news. If the efficiency of our system was higher, maybe, the costs would start to even out. And I think we'd need around a 20-25% better efficiency to have the same costs for heat. I don't think we're going to get that in this next year. I'm expecting it to be a bit better now we've learned a bit more about the system. But we live in a Victorian terrace, yes, with some improvements to the original building, with double glazing, with loft insulation, and with a bit of a modern extension at the back of the house. But our house isn't the most well insulated. It's not the most efficient. The story is, for more modern homes with a lower heat loss, we can run heating systems at a lower temperature, and we would see efficiency way above what we have in our Victorian terrace. And then heat pumps could be cheaper to run. But how else could we tackle the cost increase? Well, many people when they look to install heat pumps, they look to install solar panels as well. We haven't at our house yet, because our roof is in a bit of a state and it may need replacing soon. But when we do replace the roof, we would put a small solar PV system on. If we installed 2.5 kilowatts of solar panels, that would generate around 1900 kilowatt hours of electricity per year in the northeast, some of which we would use to power the heat pump. So let's assume that we would use 2/3 of what we generate inside the house, or getting 1250 kilowatt hours of electricity towards our heat pump demand and getting it for free. That would reduce our costs by £370, and that would make our heating cheaper than heating by a gas boiler. The electricity we didn't use would also have some value, but maybe only £40 or so, as it would go to the rest of the grid. It would go to our neighbours as well. Talking about neighbours, our next door neighbours are actually installing a heat pump and a really big solar array in the next few months. It'd be great to use them as a case study, but their heating is going to be really, really low cost. Or what else could we try? Well, we could try a scheme like Ripple Energy that I'll link below, and that allows you to buy part of a wind turbine. Fantastic. We've bought into their second round, and that, when it comes online, will generate just over 1,000 kilowatt hours of electricity specifically for us, for this house. And that's about a quarter of the energy that we need to run the heat pump each year. That's pretty cool. Ripple suggests that we'll be saving £70 per year, or 6.5 pence per kilowatt hour with this. And that won't make our heating free, but it will help shift the dial a little bit. Low cost, low carbon energy, powering our fossil-free heating system. I love it. I'll link to Ripple in the description below. And when we can generate our electricity with solar panels or with a wind turbine or something like that, we can generate our own heat. You can't dig up your own natural gas. You can't refine your own natural gas in the back garden. You can't make your own energy for heat in a gas boiler. But when we electrify everything, we can. So, what do you think? With current tariffs, our costs are around £21.67 a month higher to heat with a heat pump. Would you pay that kind of money for a subscription, maybe, to reduce your real emissions by 1.5 tonnes every year? My answer is, well, we have to. We don't have much choice. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below or reach out to me directly. I'd love to talk things through.